Hey, 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 it's another beautiful day in Ghana, West Africa, and we are out for a real special event. So we're gonna pull up. It's a bit early, but get ready for something exciting. We're gonna have some wonderful conversations. We got the brother 19 Keys out here. We're with the Diallo 901 and the Adinkra Group, and yeah. Yep. So like I said, it's a bit early, so we're just gonna chill out for a little bit. I'm gonna take you inside right quick and show you around. We're out here at a wonderful spot in Osu. Yep. That's the man right there. So we out here at Barnard Beer and Garden. So you know we drinking tonight. You know we drinking. They got all kinds of stuff on tap. Yep. We're gonna come back. Ooh, yeah, we're gonna come back and get some of this in just a little bit. But let me show you around while it's quiet and it's early. So it's Friday, November 21st, and we pulled up to support community. Brother Diallo 901's got another wonderful event. He's got 19 keys out here. It's going to drop some knowledge on us, connect with the community. And it's Friday night. We're out in Osu, and this is where a lot of fun happens. So everybody's in rush hour traffic right now, and we're going to be chilling. We don't want to be in that traffic at all. So guys, follow me, enjoy, have a good time, and let's get it. Thank you. Let's just go ahead and get some of the ambiance. Check them out. Got the big boy film crew out here. So, yep. Gotta get a little bit of this before I start drinking. Let me be quiet. I'm gonna be responsible tonight. Definitely gonna be responsible.
How many of y'all are ready to hear a conversation with 19 Keys tonight? Let me hear your voice.
Yep.
Dabby. Let's try it again. How many of y'all are here tonight and you're ready to hear a conversation with 19 Keys? Okay, that's better. Now, like I told you, we're just getting the inside set up. We're gonna move it inside. We just demonstrated for you what it looks like to network, right? I have another incredible person here that I'm gonna ask to come up to talk about what it is that she does. She's not expecting to do this, but she's from Jersey. And people from Jersey, we ain't scared of nothing. You understand what I'm saying? Especially Trenton makes the world takes East Orange. Where else is from? Brunswick, Newark, bing, Maplewood, bing. That's how we go. We got energy, we got enthusiasm in Jersey. But this sister right here, so before I introduce her, let me just say something about networking and being in a mixer and why that's important. Sometimes you come to an event like this and you sit and you have absolutely no idea who you are sitting next to. You have absolutely no idea who you are sitting next to. Now, every day in your life, if you pray, you've been praying for something. You've been praying for something. And the answer to your prayer, or at least one step closer, could be sitting right next to you. But there's something about us that makes it a little bit more difficult for us to simply look to our left or our right and say, hi, my name's Diallo.
Nice to meet you, bro.
Nice to meet you too.
I know who you are.
What's your name, bro?
Sadiq.
Sadiq. Right? Just like that. Without prompt. Now, because we black people, I'm going to get on us a little bit. Because you know who does that without prompt?
White people.
Other people. They don't need no prompt to go, hey man, hey buddy, hi, how are you? Hey, I'm Todd, I saw, I have the same running shoes. What path do you run, right? And they just start, unafraid. And what we have to do if we serious about, number one, having our prayers answered, and if we serious about whatever we have going on in our life, unless you have enough or too much of whatever it is you have, unless your cup overrunneth to the point where you just can't take no more, whatever it is, whether it's money, whether it's connections, whether it's relationships, you just got too much of it. Don't be afraid to introduce yourself. Don't be afraid to say hello. Don't be afraid to meet somebody new. Now for men, I know what it is, because we just get like that. I don't know the niggas over there, I ain't talking to them. Right? And I remember I used to be like, man, no new friends. It was a thing, like it was a song came out, no new friends. I used to walk right in and no new friends. I don't want no new friends. No new friends. Nah, who's this Bama right here? I don't want no new friends. And then look at all of them blessings you leaving out there. I'm telling you, you pray. We all pray, and then sometimes, literally, we walk right by the answers of our prayers because we ain't say hello. I'm gonna just tell y'all one story, then I'm gonna call this sister up here. There's a brother that I met here. We were at a wine tasting at Makosa restaurant. And if you've ever been to Makosa, it's inside of Sandbox restaurant. So my wife and I are at this wine tasting, and it's dinner. We know the chef there. We got invited. Boom. So we're at this table, and we're eating. So after about 5 minutes, there's a brother to my left. He's by himself. There's two sisters across from us. Me and my wife are there. As soon as I came in, I was like, yo, where the wine? Let's get it popping. I missed the first round. Can I get the first bring? I missed it. Bring it back. I'm just like, let's get it popping. So then I look over to the brother and I was like, hey man, how are you? He's like, I'm good. I'm like, yeah, nice to meet you. What's your name? He's like, no. I said, okay, I'm Diallo. Yeah, so, how'd you, yeah, I know some people here, this, that, and the third. Okay, we talking. So I said, well, what do you do? He's like, well, I'm in finance management, but my passion is wood. I was like, really? What kind of wood? He's like, furniture. I was like, get out of here. He said, yes. I said, listen, earlier today, I had just made the decision to settle for some furniture because I couldn't find exactly what I was looking for, but my timeline was running out. So I said, let me just settle. And I'm gonna get this furniture tomorrow. I'm gonna send a deposit tomorrow. So I said, let me see what you have. This man showed me a chair. And when he showed me the chair, I just put the phone down on the table. And my wife said, what's that? I said, I ain't showing you. You can't see it. She said, why? I said, I found it. I found what I've been looking for. Long story short, I ordered 12 beds, 48 chairs, and 12 tables.
Changed that man's life.
The day before, I was about to settle and get something I really didn't want. But my timeline was running short because I said hello. Not only that, I fell in love with the chair so much that when I look at this chair, I feel like I turned into Kanye West. Like I just need to go on a rant about art. That's how much I love this chair. You can ask my wife, anybody that knows me. So I even signed an agreement with him that he can't make this chair for nobody else. This is a one-on-one. I don't want nobody else to have this chair. My brother Elijah is there. Elijah, he'll tell you the truth. I wouldn't even send him a picture of the chair.
I want to see the chair.
I wouldn't even send him a picture of the chair. I said no. So my whole point is this. We're here today. We have a powerful brother who's here in Ghana. He's agreed to come out to be with us, to share the energy that he has. And you are sitting right around and right next to people who have some of the same energy. Make sure before you leave, you say hello to somebody, because you might get your prayer answered. Come on, y'all, give me a round of applause. Yeah. It's either a round of applause or I'm passing around the collection plate. One of the two. You tithing or you clapping. All right. Sister Kika, could you mind coming up? Just talk to us a little bit about who you are, what you do. And after that, we're going to move everybody inside and get prepared for the conversation. Give them I just saw a brand new video you did earlier, so don't give them the Jersey version. Give them the real live. Give them who we are.
Thank you. So you definitely put me on the spot. I'm from Jersey, so I'm never scared. So period, right? No, thank you, Diallo, Keys, Amiji, Mariah, for inviting me. Super excited to be here. I was just in Ghana last month, and I came back this month. I'm speaking at the Global Entrepreneurship Festival on Sunday, and now I feel like I need to move here. So, right? So, yeah, so what I do is I help small businesses turn into national franchise brands. So I was one of the first Black female franchisors in the United States in 2018. And I went through that whole journey by myself. I had to learn a lot the hard way. McDonald's, Burger King, these are all franchises. A lot of people don't realize that they can turn their business into a national brand or international brand like McDonald's. So for a while, I scaled up to 13 locations, and then I started helping other people get into it. And so now we have about 50 people who we've helped transition from small business to franchising. And what it does is it helps you expand without using all of your resources, all of your time. And all it is teaching others how to do exactly what you did. So it's a very liberating experience for entrepreneurs. And now we are working with the government in Ghana to help bring franchises here and also help develop Ghanaian brands. Because what happens is a lot of countries place their franchises here to profit, but the Ghanaian brands, usually don't get to scale into franchising. So we're changing that. We're developing a whole program to teach local small businesses how to become national or international brands. So I'm super excited about that. Super happy to be here. Shout out to Supermind. I need a cup right now. I still have a little jet lag, but I'm just thankful to be here. And if anyone prayed about franchising, if I'm the answer to anyone's prayer, please let me know. I will help you. But thank you for welcoming me, and just excited to hear this conversation. Thank you. You're next.
Good evening, everyone. Wonderful to see so many beautiful people tonight. I'm so excited to be here in Ghana for the very first time with our brand Supermind, a mushroom coffee. It's a brand in which I've co-founded with 19 Keys, and so we are so excited to continue to awaken our community to the cognitive renaissance that is happening. We believe that capacity is one of the greatest assets that we are going to have into the future, and so excited to be here with all of you.
Doing that, I was actually where'd Brother Diallo go?
Don't worry, this your moment.
It's okay, but I need his permission because this is an event. And I'm about ready to pass around a sheet so I can collect everybody's information. I know everybody didn't RSVP just like me, but I still want to connect with people. I mean, 2 young ladies here already that's like, wow, I need a franchise here and in the States. I'm just trying to be more than a one-man band, right? I need a system. So that's like y'all already speaking to me. The young lady here is talking about the mushroom coffee. I'm ready to do a coffee alternative here that is date seeds. That is really beneficial. So like the synergy is really crucial. Again, I gotta throw my brother with Shark Island now because again, same with Brother Diallo. I've followed him online. I've seen the work he's doing. I've been inspired by the work he's doing. But now here in this event, I get to actually meet him and make that boom solid contact. I can sit here and say that I sat down and had a conversation with his brother. It's many other individuals who are in the audience here that I don't even know that I need to meet yet. But because we all decided to make it important to be here tonight on a Friday night, and we could have been doing a plethora of other things, it means something. So aside from my motivation and inspiration and all that, my name is Sadiq Larte. I'm a Ghanaian American who was just repatriated home in the last 5 years, which has been my birthright, being Ghanaian. But just like Brother Diallo said, I've still had that freshman experience. And I think that this culmination of coming together for diasporans make sure that we don't all have to independently have our own separate experience, that we really be able to gain a benefit from that. So, like I said, Brother Diallo, man, I've been following the brother, seeing the work he's doing. Like I said, I want to be like him when I grow up, you know what I mean? But maybe one day y'all be attentive, and I do, before I pass it back to him, I'm a chef, plant-based chef, flexitarian chef, really, just variety. Pleasure your palate, as I like to say. And then I'm also entrepreneur. I'm a serial entrepreneur, but I think we are here for a reason. So, hey, let's move forward for our future. So, appreciate it. Brother Diallo, you here? I want to ask. I didn't RSVP, but I'm here. But I want to know if I can pass around a collection sheet to get people's email address. Because I don't want to miss somebody in the corner that I might not be there to get.
But my brother, you don't even got to ask that permission. Somebody might say no, because that's what we do. Some people don't like, but man, go ahead and talk to everybody, collect cards, give me your number, everything. Okay, so how many people here are ready to start a franchise? Some of y'all don't know. You see all these people? And how many people here are... Mariah, I know you was like, did this man just call me and tell me I'm up next out the blue like that? We're going to talk a little bit more about that. Okay, so we were just managing through an issue or two. We wanted to move you inside, but it's hot. And the AC, there's a small power issue. So we're going to get started right out here in a few minutes, okay? I have one other brother here that I'd like to come up, Marvin. Come on up. Like, you made it in life. You know you made it in life when you know people who buy islands. Like when you can be like, yeah, my man just bought this island. What you do, get on public transportation. This is a flex when you're in the US. So if you're in DC on the 70 bus or the X2 bus, right? Just be on the phone and be like, yeah, my man just bought that island. It's a little flex. It's a little flex. Brother, just tell everybody who you are, what you're doing here in Ghana.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
All right, thank you. Happy to be here in support of my brother Diallo, 19 and his team. And my name is Marvin Walker. I'm a Guyanese American that moved back to Ghana in 2018. Never planned on, moving back to Africa, but a series of events in my life happened that I thought was to my detriment, ended up being to my benefit. I always wanted to own my own island. I seen people buying and owning them. Never thought that I'd own one in Africa. Repatriated here because one of my operation manager kept saying, Marvin, you need to go to Ghana. And after rebuking this brother 9 times, a lady who is very dear to my heart, her name is Monica Chapman. I had just been decimated by one of America's major corporations. And when I was evicted from my home, when I was sleeping in one of my vehicles in a warehouse parking lot, she said, Marvin, why don't you just go to Ghana and see what's going on? And I'm going to pay for you to go there because I had no money. And I couldn't tell this lady no because I'm staying in a room in her house, right? She's like this lazy bum. So I said, let me go to Ghana. And she said, worst thing can happen if they don't use your technology, like Barry's saying, you could say I got a free trip to Africa. And I said, you know what? That's a good way of looking at it, my sister. And I came out here. The contracts that I signed ended up not working out. But I didn't want to give up on myself again, because again, I had just been defeated, kicked down by Goliath. And I believed in myself, never knowing that Ghana would give me the resurrection that I needed. And I decided to stick it out through COVID, and I started looking for properties, and my realtor said, hey, Marvin, why don't we go to this location to look at properties? And I remember saying, ew, that name doesn't sound attractive. I don't want to go. Boom, boom, no. And then I said, but you're going to be sitting in the house, nothing going on, let me go. I went out there with the brother, and it was an area that I'd been seeing and hearing about. And I ended up meeting with a family there and purchased my first island. I didn't have no money. I talked to the family and I said, hey, I ain't got no money, but if you give me this land, let me register it in my name, I know that I could sell this property and I will pay you. I promise to pay you. Right? And most people would not do that. And they gave me the land, I registered in my name, and within 11 months, I sold 43 homes. Off plan, never been a real estate developer. Thank you. And since then, we've helped a significant amount of people repatriate to the continent, build homes that have appreciated in excess of almost $300,000. I'm happy that I've been able to help people wanting to leave Babylon, as we call it, and to be able to establish themselves. And, Ghana gave me what America took back from me. I also found my heritage here that I didn't know nothing about. And if anybody is not living here full-time thinking about doing it, are there challenges here? Absolutely. Is the infrastructure and everything set up? Not quite. But it is absolutely worth it if you're willing to make a commitment to your journey. And sometimes things happen in your life that may seem like things are falling apart, but it's really coming together. And I'm an example of that. And for the people who've seen my story and say, wow, you've inspired me. I didn't know I was inspiring people. I was just trying to live life. So you never know who's looking at you, whose life you're inspiring. But a man who wanted to buy one island, and I thought I was going to get it in the Caribbean and in America, the good Lord allowed some things to happen to me that would put me in a position that forced me to be open to coming and experience a place that I would have never came. And now I own 7 islands in Ghana. I own 4 in Mozambique. And now my business is expanding into Zambia. Owning businesses in countries that I never knew that I'd be able to do that. And you too, if you're committed to your journey and what you're supposed to do, you can do the same. So I thank you all that have seen me and said that you're inspired by my story. I also thank you all for being a part of my journey. And you, my brother, for not only sending customers my way, but getting 2 of our units. I love my customers, so thank you guys, man. Appreciate you.
I'm not only the client, I'm the player president. All right, Shark Island coming soon. I have 2 units. It was just crazy because Ma was like, hey, I'll give you a commission. I was like, okay, bro, cool. And I'm sending people there, yo, go buy it. Then he calls me up one day. He's like, yeah, bro, so they bought the units. You got some commission? I was like, I got some commission? Number one, he was honest enough to tell me. Somebody else wouldn't have told me, they would have took it. I said, man, I don't want that money. Just put it to my unit, man. Put it to my unit, and then I'll move over there. Okay, so we made a decision, and that is we are going to, we are going to move it inside. So relax. The place has cooled down a bit, so we want to ask you to move inside. I'll tell you why. We want to have an intimate conversation with you, and we don't want to be as bound by time, because you can't really stop spirit. And once we start talking, if we hit the mark where it's time to start, but the spirit feels like we keep going, we don't want to have to cut that energy short. So please, you can begin to kind of make your way inside. Right here to the right. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. We're going to make our way inside and get started.
you doing?
You look great,
Oh,
man.
thank you, thank you,
You must
thank
have been
you.
working out or something.
Yeah, I tell you. But it's just good timing, and all the stress I was carrying is gone now. So that's
Good.
really what it is. Yep, yep, yep.
We're gonna start at 5, Let's get this going. Okay. I go, I go, I go. Okay, we want to thank you so much for joining us again. And we want to thank you for your patience. We can have just a little bit of quiet in the back. We really want to thank you for joining us. And we really, really want to thank you for your patience. Once again, my name is Diallo Sumbry. I'm the president and CEO of the Adinkra Group. And without further ado or further delay, I would ask that you please give a rousing round of applause for our brother 19 Keys here in just a moment. I'm going to start this conversation off and say that energy is probably the most valuable currency that you can carry. I'll start the conversation off with that purpose. And then what I'll do is just kind of ask our brother to introduce himself, right? Because I was telling people, we got 19 keys in Ghana. Some people said, well, who is that? I sent it to my son, and he sent me like 12 fire emojis, and my nephew, first thing they did is say, oh, you with keys, can I borrow $1? First thing they said. So that meant something to me, like, oh, okay, I must be doing the right thing. So, my brother, who is 19 keys?
First of all, thank you for having me here. How do I say Aquaba?
Aquaba.
Aquaba. Aquaba. Blessings to the people, man. It's good to be here again. This is my second time in Ghana. My first experience, number one, it was the first time I felt. It was the first time I felt safety as a black man in the world, and it was an unfamiliar feeling. Not that I didn't know what safety was, but I don't think I had actually felt it before, and I didn't realize it until I came here. And I'm around nothing but black people, right? But I didn't feel like somebody was trying to take something from me. I didn't feel like people wanted something from me. I felt like I could let my armor down and I could just walk in peace. So I'm eternally grateful for Ghana for that experience, because I've been to all different places around the world, and none has given me that feeling that Ghana has given me. So I want to thank you. My brother, thank you, sister. I appreciate you. My brother said introduce myself. Check one, check two, there we go. There we go, there we go. So we're going to have to choose one in the sisters. So I go by 19 Keys. 19 Keys first came by as a quote from a man named Matthew Muhammad. This was a quote in the early 1900s. He said there's 19 million original people. And he said there's 17 million original people and there's 2 million Indians. And he was talking about population at the time in America, North America. And he said there's 19 million well-oiled keys to unlocking those rusty lock minds. And keys is interchangeable for knowledge, for wisdom, for enlightenment, so that the people can never be oppressed or colonized again. And so I took on the moniker to be someone that can unlock the minds of our people. And I decided that I want to become 19 keys in the world that can be utilized as a global force for enlightenment. And ever since that moment that I've taken on that journey, I've been able to do that across the planet Earth. I'm from Oakland, California, where I see black men with power. Right? I see black men with their own schools, their own systems, their own health institutions. I also see those black men fail at the same time. I didn't read about revolution or activism in a book. It was just how I grew up. The brothers that I grew around, they were stone cold revolutionaries, gangsters, killers, however you want to put it. But they were the type of men that controlled their neighborhood. They controlled the economy around themselves. So for me, it was normal that black men take a position of power, a position of leadership, a position of authority, right? A position of creating our own economy and having financial sovereignty. And so when I entered into what is now the social media space, some people were like, where you come from? Because they didn't know that we had our own thing going on in Oakland, California. They don't know anything outside the Black Panthers for the most part. And so I entered this sphere thinking that what I was doing would just be widely accepted as something you would want to see every black man do, because I also had cases. I also have been into the troubles that you go through. I've been into every situation that a black man can go through in America down there. And so I'm able to have this understanding and this empathy for our people that most people don't. People always ask me, why do you care? And some days I wrestle with God on that question as well. And these Negroes be tripping me out sometimes. I say, the very people you try to help be the ones that try to hurt you. And so if you're not doing it for the right reasons, you'll give up very easily. And I believe that the right reasons is so that we have a future where we're free. And I mean truly free. Because we have to free ourselves from their way of thinking. We have to free ourselves from their way of eating. We have to free ourselves from their way of being. And even those who think they're free, they've only experienced the level of freedom that their cage allowed them to. They've only experienced the level of freedom that their beliefs allow them to. They haven't experienced true freedom where the world reflects who you are. The world has to bend to your will. When you look outside, everything is created, right, from your imagination. That's true freedom. And until we get there, I'm going to keep fighting. That's who I am, 19.
So, if anybody asks you who's 19 Keys, make sure you can communicate with that same level of clarity, that same level of enthusiasm, and that same level of energy. Now, one of the things you said is when you entered the social media sphere and space, people said, where did you come from? And one of the things I know about my people is what we know for sure is that we all came from somewhere, but we always ask that question. Where did you come from? Right? Because we connected to spirit. There was a meme one time when he said, black people are the most spiritual people in the world. If a snake crawls in here right now, somebody's going to say, who sent you? And most of the time we feel that when the person or the thing that's in front of you invokes some type of energy. So I want to say I appreciate the energy that you invoke. We appreciate that energy. We appreciate you being here. So now that we know who 19 Keys is, I want to dive right in. This is your second time in Ghana.
Yes, sir.
You felt a certain level of safety when you came here, right? And it brought you back. What do you think is stopping, or what do you think is preventing those of us who see what's happening in the world from making a move to at least visit the African continent? Now I know that's, I'm gonna drop it.
No, it's a relevant question. We don't control the media, which controls our attitude. Our attitude is our disposition towards things. Before you meet somebody, somebody say something about you, right? They say something about Keys, now you don't like it, but you never met them, you never had an experience. But they're controlling your attitude, right? Because we don't own the media and we haven't controlled the media, they're controlling our perception of each other. They're controlling the attitude that we have about Africa. Even though people who've never experienced it before, sometimes they can take on someone who gives it a negative thing, right? Then you can be influenced by somebody like yourself who gives it a positive spin. There's a narrative warfare, right? Controlling the perception, the belief through stories and storytelling. And so I don't believe, number one, there's been enough investment from the continent itself, right, in the narrative campaign of Africa.
Hold on, y'all. So we just went a layer. If you're not familiar, we went a layer. I want you to say that one more time.
Yes,
we went a layer. Say it one more time.
So we talked about narrative warfare. There are those who exist on the continent who have a lot of wealth. And sometimes they're so comfortable in their wealth that they don't want things to change too much. So therefore, they won't use their wealth to create change that will make them uncomfortable. So even though they can utilize the resources that they have to empower those to create the content that raises and expands the idea of what Africa is, to combat the narrative that we receive across the planet about the continent, they're not spending and putting capital, right, budget, infrastructure into that. So therefore, there's not enough investment from the continent itself to change the narrative about Africa.
So that's what we call a two-way street. That's what we call a two-way street, because oftentimes the conversation about the diaspora is really about what the diaspora, those of us of African descent around the world, can do for the continent. But we rarely hear a conversation about what. And I know my sister Ismira is over there smiling right now. We never really hear a conversation about what the continent's responsibility is to us in the diaspora. And that's a very solid point. So we just went down the layer. So with that, not only with around investment, I want to ask you a question about reparations. So I had mixed emotions the first time I saw continental African presidents asking for reparations. I'm just being honest. I haven't landed on how I feel yet. My emotions are still mixed, but I have mixed emotions, right? But I understand that there are two sides to the colonization coin. We will never know what it feels like to be colonized on your own land, and you're walking on the same land that your great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather walked on, but you speak in another man's tongue. You're looking at a church that was built over your traditional shrine. We will never know what that feels like, those of us from the U.S. And in the U.S. and continental Africa will never know what it feels like to be shackled, to be chattel slavery. But what I would like for you to talk about, and what I would like for you to expound upon with regards to reparations, is how do you feel, number one, about reparations in general, and number two, about African countries demanding and beginning to ask for reparations for what happened to the continent.
Well, when something is broken, it needs to be repaired. And that's what reparations is, right? It's the act to repair something. I think there's the mental part of that, of us realizing that regardless of whether you get reparations or not, it is your job to repair yourself. And consciousness, right, is the process of repairing, giving one their identity, their full sense of self back. Sometimes we come to the continent like lost puppies, looking for ourselves. Therefore, allowing somebody to guide you or misguide you in a right or wrong direction, and so many of us get taken advantage of, right? Because you romanticize the idea of the return, but you have not returned to yourself first, right? And so if you go somewhere not knowing yourself, then anybody can sell you an identity, connected to a scam, connected to a scheme, and now you're disappointed because you had all these expectations. And so when anywhere I leave across the planet Earth, I'm bringing my full self when I go somewhere. I'm not looking for myself. I'm not going somewhere lost, right? Because that happens even at home. You have people talking about, I'm going to go find my purpose. Your purpose lies within your identity, right? It lies in your gifts that you bring out, that you inherit, your skills, your talent. It lies in your bloodline. It lies in the mission that's required in the time in which you are living and what you can contribute. And so, as we talk about reparations from a global standpoint, we know that there's a two-way street. There is the selling of the Africans, right, to the colonizers, to the devils, right, all across the planet Earth. Then there is the money that is owed not just by those who sold us, by the Dutch trading system, right, by the Jewish owners of the ships, by the American slave owners, by the institutions that profited all those years that built their empire. There's a lot of people that owe you when you go around collecting for your bill money, right? And so black people all across the planet Earth feel like we're owed because everybody is benefiting from what was stolen from us. But there's also the standpoint, because I can't really speak from the perspective on this side. I can only really truly speak from the perspective from our side, from North America. Our people will always be owed just due. And we will never give up what's owed to us, no matter what we get on our own. Because what you owe us is the repairment that you're doing to your own humanity, right? That your story can never be changed, and we can never do business and operate with you. That's like if your family stole everything from my family. But me and you personally don't have a problem. We doing business, but there will always be this thing between us, right? And so if you ever become a person that wants to do the righteous thing, then you will make repairment so we can start over and we can build. And so until the colonizers, until the devils, until the slave traders make that wrong right, we will always have a problem, right? And so we didn't get out of slavery because they grew a consciousness. We got out of slavery because we fought. You understand me? And we went to war. And they had to join on to a war that was already occurring, right? Nobody ever gave us anything. We always fought for everything. So when they try to then take credit for our progress as if they don't owe us, we did that despite what you did to us. So anybody that feels guilty for the participation of the trading of slaves, and not only the trading of slaves, what happened after slavery, right? We want all ours for everything because you have yours at a time where it's the hardest to get an asset. in a time where quality of living is eroding, and now they want to replace the human labor force with artificial intelligence and robots, and now you get to start 1,000,000 miles ahead and telling us to catch up. No, we should be dissatisfied, and you see the people all across the planet Earth, in Nepal, in Madagascar, in Mexico, the young people are rising up because there's no jobs, there's no opportunity. So the violence is skyrocketing because they're doing the one thing that any people should do when they don't have opportunity. We have to take it. We have to make it. Those who benefit from you being in your position will never benefit from you being out of that position. So there will be no retribution that is given to them unless you force it. So when we're talking about the conversation of reparations, it is a conversation that we either want to force to make happen, but if we are relying on the moral compass, right, of those who did the damage in the first place, we're going to be waiting forever.
Oh man, listen. Yeah, come on, you can clap. Listen, just stop us when we start. When we start telling lies, get up and walk out. Until then. So, I mean, I could go so many places from where you just went right there about reparations.
I don't want to cut you down.
Come on, come back, come on.
Reparations today, because I just did a tour across the planet Earth, right, called Save Yourself. And it's very fitting for the time, because when you give somebody the ability to save themselves, you allow them to recognize themselves as a savior, the one who has the ability to do it in the first place. And so when we're looking for reparations today, you first start with your own power. What do you have the power to do? The most dangerous thing on the planet Earth today is where your attention goes, right? And so the way they're keeping us in mental bondage today and shackled today is that our attentions are slaves to their mechanisms. And so in a time where the continent should be the #1 leader when it comes to AI, it should be the #1 leader when it comes to media, it should be the #1 refiner of the resources that are extracted from the continent. If we can't give ourselves repairment, what makes us think that somebody else will do? And we are all born in this time that we're living in. That's what connects us all, even deeper than skin color, right? Is that we're all living in the same time. And what is that time? It is the time of a great transition. But if we miss the cycle, well, one power is going out, and all they're trying to figure out, okay, what is our next levers of power? What is the next thing that we build? If you're distracted when the cycle happens, similar to if a farmer is distracted, he can't reap the benefits of the harvest. So if we do not invest now in ourselves, in our capabilities, in our skills, in mastering the machines, in mastering the tools, in mastering institution building, in mastering time, the greatest thing that they have above us, I would say, is their ability to master time. Joseph L. White, African psychologist known as the godfather of black psychology, he said that there's not many words in the African language for near future or far in the future. Because if you look at time as cyclical, that every step that you take, right, is now being imprinted into the paths of a memory, that there is no time unless you move, which is why black people are always not on time. You know what I'm saying? Hey, friend, when I move, that's time. But see, it's different when you have other people who look at time as a territory. They look at time as something to be conquered. And they create an institution that lasts over time. So we have a temporal blindness, a mental myopia. A mental myopia is a stigma in the mind similar to a stigma in the eyes. That if the future, right, does not feel present, then we do not act. It is a cognitive issue. It is not a will issue. We know what to do, but can't get ourselves to do what we know. There's a performance issue in the diaspora. And until we can change and recorrect our relationship with time to become conquerors of time and to harmonize with time, they will always have that over us. So you must recognize the time that you're living in. Understand it. Refresh yourself. Update yourself to the current time reality. Then you can repair your situation. Then you can win. And somebody who understands that is that brother Captain Trey Orr.
All right, yes it does.
Let's go. Earlier, before we started, I mentioned to you about how your blessing could be sitting next to you. And all you got to do is say hello. And I want to remind you of that and use that to underscore my brother's point about time. Because we are the only ones who tell our children they have time. We are the only ones who raise our children to be and to do whatever it is they want to do and feel they can do and wonder why we're behind. Somebody asked me about the Chinese. I said, what you have to realize is the Chinese send their children to school to manage what they started when they died. There is no choice. I need you all to become engineers because we've started to do the roads in Kenya. It is going to take us 250 years to do the roads from Kenya to South Africa. So when you go to college, you got to figure out how to get us some quick drying asphalt and come back and take over. Thank you, my brother. Time. So with that, I have a saying that I started saying earlier this year, and that is, we are in 2025. In 2025, almost over already. Shouts out to everybody born in 1975. We're ready. We turned 50 this year. Real ready. But we are in the last year of the first quarter of the current century. To your point about time. And if, I'm not going to do it for you, but you can do it. If you look in history at the first quarter of every century, you will find signposts for everything that happened in the next 3 quarters of that century. Now, we were all born in our own time, but I want you to talk a little bit with your understanding of history, with your understanding of technology. I want you to talk a little bit more about now, right? Yeah. About right now. That I've never heard anybody. I've never heard anybody say that the most important thing about all of us in terms of our relation is that we were born and here at the same time. That to me is real heavy. But I want you to talk about the time we're in now, the end of the last year of the first quarter of this century. What is special? What is powerful about right now?
You know, as I study time, I study so many different things. Right? Cyclical time, right? A lot of people are caught up in the news cycle, right? And the news cycle will blind you from time, right? Because it keeps you in this emergency loop, keeps you thinking negative about things. And so you get this distorted world view of reality and what's happening. It's very distracting. But there's something in the news right now that I think is interesting. And it's the 3-eye atlas, right? The 3 is a representative of it being the 3rd, right, anomaly that we found, right, coming into our solar system. And it being from a different solar system, so an interstellar event that is happening, right? And the ancient peoples, going back to like the Dogon, right, they had the ability to understand the star systems, right? And you go to Native American history, the indigenous people talked about, right, Blue Kachina. They talked about a time where the 5th world ends. And so all ancient original people always had a harmony with time. And ancient Kemet, the only way they was able to build agriculture is because they understood, right, that land, that black land, how to make it fertile, when the tides would come in, how the moon affected it. They understood seasons and time, and they lived in harmony, which is why they wasn't tripping. Because if you have an understanding, right, of cyclical time, then you don't have to force anything, right? And so, in a way, that's why we were always so comfortable. Because we never felt like we had to force anything because we understand that we had a relationship with time itself. But at some point in time, we've lost our connection to the cosmos, right? Whether you were Muslim, whether you were spiritual, right? Whether you were Christian, it was always connected cosmically. And that cosmic part is now disconnected from most religious systems on the planet Earth. Right? I'm always wearing the sun, moon, and stars to remind me of that cosmic time. Because as men, right, our bodies are attuned more with the solar. Right? We have what we call SCN, the superchiasmatic nucleus in our brain that connects when you're traveling. If you wake up with the sun the next day, you activate a part of your system. It's the allostasis system where your interior of your body is always shifting to create balance within itself. Right? It's not homeostasis waiting for things to return to normal. It's your internal systems making you feel normal as it's shifting things as necessary. And so if you wake up with the sun and you sun gaze, it reprograms you through light, right? And it gets you back in tune with a circadian rhythm. So now you're back into God's time, right? If you go back into the early 1500s, they created the clock. They put us on their clock system. Then they put us on a 1260 frequency. It took us a lot of time, right? It used to be 13 months. So we was operating with what? The cycle. The sisters have a cycle. So therefore, no matter what, a woman is always reminded of time because of her body, right? A man should be reminded of time throughout the day because his hormones shift throughout the day. And they said testosterone is at a 50-year low, at least in America. I'm not sure what y'all getting at out here. You know what I'm talking about? But y'all have a lot of babies, so
Overtime.
I think it might be good.
Overtime. Some of y'all might leave here pregnant just to listen.
So we talking about today, looking at something that's happening in the cosmos is something that our ancestors would have already lived. They would have all written it down. It would have been a planetary event that the collective consciousness all witnessed. They would have written it down in scribes and laws, and they would have understood that we're entering into a new time, right? We're entering into a new shift. And so because we have so much light pollution, we're disconnected from the cosmos because we're not looking up. We're not having to start watching parties and things of that nature because we're looking at what man created, right? We're completely disconnected from cosmic time. So therefore, we don't know how to have this overview. And I'll give you an example. Bitcoin is down to like 89,000 right now. Now, that's an easy, predictable thing in my perspective, even with the market being down. Why? It's because when you track solar cycles, it's actually one of the greatest markers to understand when you're going to have financial crisis. A solar cycle is the sun goes through repetition every 11 years, right? And it gets to a point where it has CME, that's coronal mass ejection. That's when you see an aurora borealis. That's literally saying that you're getting more magnetic energy and interference on Earth. Right now, ancient peoples understood that, so you might fast during that time, right? You might meditate more because you have understood that it disrupts your heart barriers, it disrupts your mood, it disrupts things within the body. So you understand that the cosmos is sending you a signal of what to do. Oh, similar to, you know, you got your woman and she on her cycle, you know that you might have to speak a little more politely at times, right? So that's because you have an awareness of the cycle. But when you don't know, the universe is on this period. You know what I mean? Putting you on your period. And now you're having arguments amongst each other. There's more social unrest during these times. There's technological disruption. We just had a disruption to where the internet went out. There was an outage. So now when it affects the mood of the people, it affects how they feel about the market, right? Which then creates a shift because the sentiment changes. So if you're looking at that, and all the great hedge fund managers do, right? They understand that there's technological shifts that happen when these things occur. And we're now in the point in time at solar cycle 11 to where it is at its peak. And now they're saying it's going to remain for at least another 10 years. So we're not going to stop going through shifts and changes. That's why you have to now prepare for the time that you're living in. We're living in time where things feel like they speeded up, don't they? There was a time when we was begging for the future. Can't wait till you get flying cars and jetpacks. Now you want things to slow down because it feels like time is ahead of you. You're trying to catch up to time. So as a futurist, what we do is we're always positioning ourselves ahead of time so that you can feel the future as if it's happening now. So what's going on, right? You got Elon Musk pulling out all his satellites over here to give internet to the continent. A blessing, right? But in disguise, you have to understand that now somebody controls your internet. right? And now it is a game of the global elites trying to connect, right, and create and control and privatize all assets so that they are not commons that are owned by Africa, right? It is a time where on the internet they're practicing cognitive warfare, where they're not just controlling what you think, they control how you think, which control what you think. So now they don't care if you have a different perspective on something, because they're controlling your identity through bots, through algorithms, through narrative storytelling. And this is coming from the military, right? That all peoples across the planet Earth in Africa don't have any digital borders closed, like North Korea, like China, like Russia. So you might be raising a son or a daughter not knowing that they're being taken down a rabbit hole, stealing their identity, and then they're coming back to you weird as hell, right? And so if you don't have the mental literacy during this time, it's dangerous to even be online, because you don't understand when something is shaping your consciousness, rewiring, using your own neuroplasticity against you. But years ago, it was okay maybe to give your child a phone. But you have to understand we're in a new time, right? Now they have brain-to-brain interface, ways where they can control what you think, right? Going into the very inception of your thoughts. So as we're utilizing these machines, we're in an age of illusion to where we don't know what's real. Why? Because anybody can create anything with AI. So now you can't trust yourself, which has been a skill set that we've used. Photo has always been verifiable proof. Now we can't trust our own eyes. So that means businesses will shift. People are trying to disconnect from being online as much, and they're looking to have businesses that connect people, right? Businesses are going to change from trying to steal attention to how could I actually protect your attention. So now you see something like Nike that dropped a shoe called Mind OS, to where the shoe literally has embedded in it to where it's hitting your foot in a particular area that's sending a signal to your brain to focus as you walk. Because now they understand that we're in a cognitive renaissance. That time is no longer the most valuable asset, cognition is. Because if you can't think, then what good is all the time in the world? And I know everybody here has faced with scrolling too much, constantly looking for novelty. So therefore you will write something down, but your intentions are never met because your attention is not being controlled, so you can't do the actions, right? And so we are in a time where you can tell black people everything. I give you all the business secrets, hacks, AI workflows, but will you actually leave here and execute? So when I travel around the world, I have to teach you that this is a time where cognition itself is going to be shifting different class, where there's a thinking class of people, right? Then there's the people that stuck scrolling all day. And so now there's a separation with people who have clarity, people who have focus, and people who are distracted and don't know what to do next. It's not that you're not smart. No, you're intelligent. It's not that you're not disciplined. It's that you see discipline as something other than a system, right? And so we have to become a systematic people. We have to protect our attention, and we have to align it with our intentions so that we can meet action. We have to have accountability groups during this time. Man, I was just downloaded Gemini 3, a new AI, and I'm thinking right now, when do I have time to allocate cognition towards that? Because if I do, and I can be focused for a long enough period of time, I can build something that will pay me forever. This will not always be the opportunity. Everybody's businesses should be increased with AI in the workflow. You should understand agentic AI. You cannot afford to be behind, because people build their wealth by understanding the times and building businesses of that time. That's how they get ahead of everybody else. So when it looks like we coming online, it looks like we finally get a little money, they say, ha, y'all don't understand the time we live. We about to accelerate this thing 100 times. So we can't afford to be lost. So this is the time of the cognitive renaissance where you have coffee shops that come back so you can have intellectual discussions about the cosmos, about business, about entrepreneurship, similar to the ancient Moors, similar to ancient European when that coffee bean left Africa, right, coming out of Java. They understood that it allowed them to create renaissances and revolutions. Why? Because they was able to think for longer periods of time. They was able to jump off their regular cycle, and now their brain was able to have more attention span. So now they questioning things. They sitting with brothers and being like, wait a minute, I don't think I want to, why we got to do this? They sit there cognitive, right? Performing, and now it actually, every time that coffee came, it had a revolution, it had a renaissance. So we created Supermind because I believe you literally need a Supermind during this time, right? We got mushroom in the coffee because it ain't enough. I don't know if y'all know in America, they got quarter zips. They got the green matcha going on. You understand me now?
Matcha's the thing now.
I ain't mad at the quarter zips, but they ain't some Superman mushroom coffee. You understand me? Because the young people, if you can expand their consciousness, and they won't become enough to survive in the world, definitely not enough to thrive in the world. You understand me? So take your quarter zips, but understand, you gotta have your mushroom coffee.
My brother.
I'm speaking to the young
No. You just, let me just do a check. I go. Are y'all with us? Do we need to slow down? No. Everybody's understand what we're talking about here? Because it's a lot of gems being dropped. It's a lot of information that's coming at you. And I want to make sure that you all are absorbing it and you understand. I want to go back to go forward.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I appreciate that answer about the time that we're in right now. When Ghana gained independence in 1957. So in the U.S., in 1955, we had Brown versus Board of Education. And then after 57, and at that same time, while black folks in the United States was fighting for civil rights, Africans on the continent were fighting for independence from colonial rule. So again, in time, it seems like we've always been going through the same thing at the same time.
Right.
Post-colonial era, something called neo-colonialism was talked about. One of my favorite books, anybody who's heard me speak about this before, you will hear me talk about Kwame Nkrumah's book, Neo-Colonialism. Not because of what the book told you about what happened, but that Kwame Nkrumah gave us part of the cure. And what he said is, the way that we were colonized after slavery and after colonization was through the corporation. What all of these countries did is put each other on their boards. Spain said, I'm going to take iron ore in West Africa. But Germany, I'm going to put you on the board of my corporation. Britain, I'm going to put you on the board of my corporation. Portuguese. So then they all just served on each other's boards. They still do. If anybody really looks at how Nigeria was created and other things, it's only one generation ago. So I always thought that, wow, are people reading this? He just told us what to do. The only way to reverse it is to do the same thing. It's to collaborate and to have black people put on each other's boards through the corporation and to do business. I want to talk about business because when you talk like this, and they see us, somebody gonna see this video and be like, these two hoteps, woke brothers up here talking about the sun, the moon, and the stars. And I don't really know about them, right? Because I hear people all the time, even about me, and I just be like, okay. Like this could be us over here chilling for free, right? Doing something great, but you want to be like that. In business, especially in this time now, how important is it for us to do, not just to do business with each other, but good business? We had this conversation earlier about anything positive, anything African, anything that talks about nature. People think it shouldn't cost a lot of money. They think it should be free, or they think it should be cheap, and they definitely don't want to pay it because it's like, oh, well, why? How important is it for us in this time of AI, this time of 100X, is it to really have conversations and to do business with each other? Not just, yo, you my man, you my brother, boom, 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 boom. Let's go play some ball, let's hang out, we're going to enjoy. But then after that, we sit down, we do business. We have written contracts together. We're accountable to each other to do real business and cut the check up together.
Well, first, shout out to M-Hotel.
100%.
M-Hotel is one of the greatest human beings to ever exist.
One of the greatest.
You know what I mean? He shifted the planet Earth, man. The people that don't want to hear that conversation, the people I don't want to do business with. right? Because your consciousness is too low. You can't accept any ideas, right? You're not expansive enough. You know what I mean? So you're really not my target audience at all, right? And so, because Imhotep is an important story, somebody who created the step pyramids, someone who created systems, institutions, right? One of our most brilliant minds ever to exist is now being used derogatory, right? Anytime a black man thinks in that capacity, right? Even though all the Europeans, they got their knowledge from going to the mystery schools and studying the Trismegistus, mastering the three planes. So we can't master the mind, the body, the spirit. What makes you think we're gonna master business? Business is activity of life, right? And so when you're talking about business today, especially the hedge fund manager studies these things. You understand me? The European business owners, they study these things. They go deep into the occult, then they build systems around laps around us because we stay away from these things. So when we talk about doing business, we have to be a little more expansive because in this time, day and age, I can speak to you about concepts that you might not understand, but you have to be willing to understand. You have to be open to understand them because if we don't go against the neocortex colonization, this ain't the same neo-colonization. They colonize your attention. They colonize the way you think now. So a black man that's not ready to accept new ideas, an African that's not ready to accept new systems, that's disconnected from the colonizer will never build his own world. You would only build inside a system that somebody else controls. So the goal is to create alternative systems. If you talk about people building businesses together, I defer to the Japanese system. I love how they created keiretsus, which are businesses that invest protecting each other. Because when they lost the war, they didn't want their businesses to be controlled by the European. So they decided to say, you know what? How about we all have equity in each other's company? Not enough to control it, but we do horizontal and vertical keiretsus, meaning that if we both have media companies, let's share resources. You got a media company, you got a venue, right? You have influence. Now, how about we all do business together? So Honda, right? Mitsubishi, all of them doing business together, right? And so being African or black man or whatever the hell you want to call yourself, right? At this point, time, day, and age, you can either create systems where you utilize blockchain to where we don't have to trust each other. We can just tokenize, right, and execute things to where there's a trusted system, there's smart contracts, smarter than all of us, right? So where you don't trust me, well, trust the technology work. You can see everything as it flows because trust is a big problem. But we trust them no matter how much they rob us. Amazon goes through all kind of lawsuits. Apple goes through all kind of lawsuits, right? Yet we would trust them again, even though they literally go through antitrust lawsuits. Governments, whole governments sue them because they're not trustworthy. Yet we look at each other like we scamming, right? And so that's something you have to root out your own identity because I think there's a certain segment of the population we should not do business with, right? And now when we start talking about
a certain segment of the population.
Yes, sir.
And what segment is that?
Man, it's the niggas. I don't know.
Listen.
The boule, niggas, the old colonized mindsets, the elitist mindset, right? Those are the ones I don't want to do business with you. Look, I'm in America where I should be on every cover of every black media publication, magazine in the world. But most of them niggas is controlled by white dollars, so I can't do business with them because they don't control their own publication. You understand me? And so it's hard to do business with somebody that's being controlled. You're just a black face controlled by white power. Right? And so when we start talking about doing business, we got to do righteous business. We got to do God business. You understand me? Like, there's no reason why we can't do business with each other, but we also have to do it in its systems. What are the systems in place that we're utilizing? And let's utilize technology to make this easier. We're making it too hard on ourselves. Right? There has to be intentionality. We have to seek each other value, invest in each other. Right? We all talk about investing in stocks. That's fine. We get it. Invest in stocks. But what about people? They made us individual capitalists. See, in Japan, again, they got a system called harmony capitalism. It's not just about scaling, it's about stability. What can you build that will last over what? Time. Right? And so we need sustainable relationships. Because we get in business, then we get out of business. Right? Because it did not work. So we need to build sustainable relationships, and that start with right? How we even have a ritual of connection. I need to meet your family. We need to break bread. I need to know your principles and your values, your standards, your ethics, your morals.
Tradition.
Right. That's how, if you study the people who've done it the best. So they got companies in Japan that's been around for 400 years because they created sustainable systems. A man with no ritual has no identity. So your culture is your rituals. So what is our rituals in business that we do? The Jews know how to do that. They see somebody amongst them that's a thought leader traveling the world. You think they're not going to invest in them? So our people, the other communities look at us like y'all crazy. That y'all have ones out there that are so brilliant. And y'all don't rope them in. Y'all don't put no infrastructure behind it. Even though that's the ones that can shift the culture. You know what I mean? So we start talking about doing business with each other, but we don't respect the business that each other does. We don't respect the contribution that each other have. The future is like this community nation building business archetype. Right? Because there's not as much infrastructure in Africa, there's an opportunity to build the right infrastructure in Africa. Because there's less things you have to rip apart. So you have to take it as a blessing that you get to start from scratch. But don't do it with the colonized mind. Decide what ethics of business you want to have. Right? But things need to be written down, they need to be written out. And we need to do it based on who we are. Right? And by that I mean it's sometimes easier to do business with somebody who believes like you. Right? You're an atheist, you don't believe in God. Can't do business with you. Well, maybe I can do some business with you, but not the type of business to where I'm deeply connected with you. Right? And so again, when we start talking about business, we need to learn it. We need to spend time studying it. But not the old business. Right? We need to decide what business is for us. Do we want to operate off a capitalistic model? Do you want socialism? Do you want Marxism? What do you want? Or do we create our own business?
We need a new business. You read my mind, because I was about to go to a conversation that we had, and I'm like, black people swear they gonna move to Africa and live off the land. We swear we gonna move to Africa and live off the land. We swear that capitalism is not the way, but that socialism is the way, right? And most of us don't realize that means that you may work 12 hours and I may work 4, but we get the same size piece of chicken.
And everybody ain't the same size.
And everybody ain't the same size, right? So I was going to go to let's talk about capitalism, but I'm not going to go there. What I do want to talk about is this. It's so many places we can go. So I'm trying to just make sure that I get it, right? But what I wanted to say is I want to give a shout out to all my young staff that are here. Sarah, all you guys. Great man, stand up for your man. Come on, stop being shy. Y'all are here. Right? All y'all, come on, stand up so everyone. And the reason why I want to do that is because we literally just had a training yesterday. For those of you who came to the training, and that trust word was something that I talked about. It was a big part of our training, and the only way that we can really work together on the team and in the system is if we trust each other. And why it was important for us to basically spend the whole day yesterday breaking bread together and getting to know each other. What I want to talk about now is looking at the African continent, and we see there are still so many young Africans around the continent who feel like the greener pasture is America. Like the best thing to do, because if anybody here from the U.S., you know somebody who basically said, Mommy, Auntie, Nana, I want you to help me get a passport and go out because I want to go to America. Because whatever's happening in Ghana is not helping me, but if I go to America, I will be okay. And those of us from America is like,
Hold on, wait.
those of us from America like, you sure? You sure? But I get it and I understand. But I want you to talk a little bit because we talked about now, where we are now, right? Everybody understands that $1 is going to equal 12 CDs today, and $1 is going to equal 10 CDs tomorrow or 15. So it fluctuates, right? The legal minimum wage in Ghana is about 500 or 600 CDs a month, right? Right. So I understand why people like I want to go. I'm not, but I want you to talk a little bit now about how where we are now and how the technology that we have available for us can not only help level the playing field, but how people can leverage it to jump ahead. So no matter where you are in the world, whether you live in here, America, or the island, you can be where you want to be.
Yeah. So, in the earlier periods of time, right? Let's say in the American industrial age, you would have to go to someone and you would give them a piece of paper or you would talk to them, the guy who owned the machine, and you would say, man, I have the skill set and the capability of manning this machine for you. And then they could give you permission to work for them, right? And they would reward you for your time. You would then sometimes go to college. You would go to college because the industrial capitalists at that time built a system to be able to train people so that they can work within their institutions and work their machines for them, right? That was industrial capitalism. Then you would get this degree to say, hey, I've downloaded this knowledge, give me permission to work for you, and I would love to get paid for my services, right? There was a time when artists, you had to go on stage or you had to get a deal from a corporation, right? Or you had to get you an award from a Grammy, or as an actor, you get you an Oscar, a daytime Emmy, and it's basically validating you, giving you permission to go get more opportunities. That was disrupted when social media came about, right? Someone who wasn't an expert did not have to be an expert to speak on the subject that should be heard. So they no longer had to ask what? Permission, right? Then we start talking about AI. Not only do you not have to ask permission, right? You don't even have to be the thing anymore. You don't have to be an artist to sell art. You don't have to be a singer to sell songs. You don't have to be a business person to create an actual business anymore. Why? Because they now created the tools, which is like a transfer of wealth. So where not only it saves you time, but you don't actually need the skill sets in mind to be able to man them. Case in point, like, I'm always trying to fire people who are unnecessary, right? Fire people who are unnecessary.
Fire people who are.
Because I don't think people really appreciate the opportunities of the job, right? And so, when the new machines come out, what does it do? You got one I was talking about earlier, Gemini 3 and Nano Banana, where it can create any image, you can create any graphic, any design with pure accuracy, any video. So now you can literally create your own movies without ever being a cinematographer, but maybe you have a really great point of view. Maybe you're super creative and can tell a story like nobody else, you have an original idea. And so you can sit down, learn those tools over the course of a few days, right, and have a movie that you can put out fast and make money off of that. How many skill sets did you just decrease the necessity for? Right? You didn't have to be a marketer, didn't have to be a brander, right? Didn't have to have a large platform anymore, right? It was just you and your creativity and you taking action, utilizing the machines that now have all of that human ingenuity inside of them. So you no longer have to go to a man and ask him permission, right? You no longer have to go to a woman and ask for permission. You don't have to look at the opportunities that exist in Ghana as your opportunities. You can look at the opportunities that exist in the time that you're living in as your opportunities, right? So you're born and you happen to be born. You just happen to be born at a time where you're cognitive enough to take advantage of the biggest shift that our planet will probably go through, right? In our lifetime and previous lifetimes, where we have artificial intelligence, robotics coming, quantum fusion, right? And you're here coherent as an adult to make a decision, to master it, and also decide where it goes. Because those who control the best use case also determine how it's used later and who comes after them. That is an extreme blessing, right, to be born in a time. Because we talked about previous history, 1995, the Million Man March happened, we was trying to have atonement. Over almost 2 million black men come together. Well, what was the colonizers doing? They were sparking the internet, right? They had an IPO of the internet. At the same time, Jeff Bezos was raising money for his family so he could have Amazon that runs the world. We've always been trying to repair, been trying to get our reparations. So we've been distracted from most of the opportunities, but we're living the outcome of those who took it, right? And so now we're living in a world of those who built the internet. Now our children are going to live in a world of those who built AI, right, and robotics. So if you don't have a say-so in where things are going, you become a slave to everybody who took action. So for me, I believe in this time, it's the greatest opportunity. I've made millionaires, right? I've taught many people how to use AI, and they created multiple businesses that they're able to thrive off of from a skill set they didn't have. The hardest thing today, right, that you need to develop as a skill, I would say, is your own imagination. The reason that most people are deprived, when you get a tool, you don't know what they're going to do with it, because you don't have no ideas. If you had all the ideas in the world, you would be so excited for every tool that came out, because you couldn't wait to use it, because you couldn't wait to implement an idea. But what happens is that when you're scrolling, you're on your phone, you're being shown everything and nothing's being left up to imagination. Right? You don't have to wonder anymore. So if you're not actually producing any images in your own mind, you're not thinking what ifs anymore. So therefore, you don't have that many visions and dreams in your own mind, the fecundity, which is similar to if you have, as a man, you got a lot of sperm swimming, you're feeling strong, you got a lot of fecundity, right? But it also represented the mind of the man, specifically the black man. He had fecundity of the mind, right? There's a statue, an ancient Kemetic statue, where it shows an erect black man and then one with a fist up. It represents fecundity. You know what I mean? That we're supposed to be a people that flow with ideas, that's super creative. We've always been like that. So in a time where creativity is one of the greatest assets, now we don't have any, right? We're supposed to be using imagination. Those who don't have that much always have to be creative. Creativity is godly, right? You use your creativity to create, but we're consuming more than we create. So now I say, hey, go create an image from the machine. You sit there playing, I don't know what to make. There's nothing in your mind. The future is what we imagine, but we keep asking everybody else what the future is.
Hold on, I want to stop you right there. Everybody who used ChatGPT, please edit the damn document before you send it out. Don't just go to ChatGPT, get the document, and send it right from ChatGPT. At least take out the unnecessary dashes, the period might be in the wrong place, the comma might be in the wrong place. But what the brother is saying is, at the end of the day, tell me if you agree, even with the technology that we have, what drives the use of the technology to its maximum point is what you put inside of it. So, garbage in, garbage out. So what I just want to underscore and be clear of, and you tell me if I'm wrong, that Brother 19 Keys is not saying that because we have AI and because we have this technology, you can be lazy. Or that you don't have to continue to study. Or that you don't have to continue to increase your capacity, your knowledge, your intelligence, or your information. Because that's what you need in order to put into the system what you want out.
Yes, sir.
Garbage in, garbage out.
But
I do. Go ahead.
I know that you would.
No, go ahead.
But think about that. All right, so when I use AI, I think about what my intentions are. So as you talked about it, they just did an upgrade with ChatGPT, right? To where now you can go into the core instructions of the settings and you can put no dashes, right? And you can also put do not speak in robotic language where it's X then Y, right? To where it's saying that once you do this, then this is Y. It gets become very repetitive, right? And it doesn't have a natural language. So what most people don't know is AI is better prompting than humans. So when you want to create a master prompt, ask the AI to create a master prompt. But first tell it what your intentions are. So I'm usually voicing, right, messaging when it comes to AI because I can better communicate an idea than I can write it down. So first I start with what is my intention. If I was to do it before I came here, I would say, listen, I'm 19 Keys, we already know who I am because I got that program and my custom instructions. I would tell them my intentions here is to speak to entrepreneurs that are in Ghana, Accra. I would say that this is the context in which I'm viewing this. I want to talk to them about time, temporal blindness. I want to get them to understand that cognition, creativity, and imagination are the most important things of the day. Can you give me information, right, on the GDP, right? Can you give me information on some of the positive and negative news and the sentiments of those people? Then I would love for you to also, right, pull me a list of statistics, right, that I can talk about when I'm speaking to them to anchor the conversation. So now that it has my intentions, it can directly go to what I need versus giving it a general statement because it has so much access to so much knowledge, it's not going to pinpoint what's custom towards you. So the more you do that, right, it has a memory thread, it can get more customized and you can use it. And eventually you have to get to a point where you just build a second brain system and you'll use something like Notebook LLM, where I take all my videos and I pour it into a brain system to where it's only pulling from my knowledge. So now when I want to remember something and talk about something, it's pulling from my reference point of view, right? And so you as an operator, the one who controls the business, you need to program it with your intentions, program it with your ideas, program it with what is the outcome that you want to get from the information that you're putting in. So the more you depend on it, it can become dangerous because you start to lose cognition, right? Because you start taking on what they call cognitive debt, right? The more it thinks for you, the less you can think for self, and you become dependent on it. That's a very dangerous place to be in, right? Captology is the study essentially of how machines are able to influence us and how they work on the back end. Most people don't study those things, so they don't know that these machines can influence you to have psychosis. It had some people thinking that they were smart, right? They were geniuses, and it drove people to suicide, right? This is the first time ever that machines are able to influence us. We don't know. We're no longer in the era where you just ask a question. You can now ask the internet to build something for you. We're not in the era of the master teacher. We're in the era of the master builder. The question is not what you do, is what are you building? Right? Because you have all the tools that are laid out in front of you, or what are you a part of that is being built? Right? Why? Because when you go to the AI, right, and you don't have any intentions, right, then you don't really have any use for it. Similar to a man without vision don't need a woman. Right? And so when you're thinking about it in that capacity, like we know in America, black women were the first computers and calculators. You know what I mean? But a man had to be intentional. He wanted to go to space and he went and grab black women. You know what I mean? He knew exactly what value to use them for. Now, imagine they just with a nigga in the hood. Don't know their value. Can't use her for nothing. What do you go get her to calculate? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you don't have a big enough vision for the tools that you have access to. And so this is what we're at right now, is that we have billion-dollar tools, trillion-dollar tools, but we have 5 CD ideas.
Yeah.
Come on. So again, as we're utilizing the AI, I want you to speak to it, right? Communicate, be intentional, right? But then understand that each one has its own specific thing. So if you're getting like the enterprise version, because I have so many frameworks for all these things that I do, you can utilize what's called posts. The biggest issue that we have today, again, is not knowledge, right? It is our lack of intentionality and our ability to perform at the right time. So we put off things tomorrow that we should be doing today. And we wait till things are imminent, and then we act with urgency. So when you have the ability to do what's called externalization, it means you're taking what's typically as an internal process. You're activating the neocortex, which is the self-management system for executive function, right? And so you write things down. The law of written clarity is when you write something down, it is 50% done, right? But when it's external, the brain can see it in front of itself and it can organize itself to start executing. You tell other people so they hold you accountable. You set it in calendar so you get the notification data. So when you're using ChatGPT, they have a part called Pulse. Pulse is allowing you to tell it what your intentions are so it can every single day give you a report on that. Right? And it's going out there seeking information so that you can execute your goals. It's trying to make you more productive. Then you can use projects. So instead of opening new tabs and new threads, you have a project that keeps the context, right, of what you've been talking about or what you're working on. But that's just ChatGPT. Then you want to use Claude as a better writer. Claude can connect to Apple Notes, have things called connectors, right? You have Perplexity that is a better researcher. right, that you can plug into your browser. Like these machines, if you can master them right now, you can master Nano Banana and Gemini, and you understand what the hell I'm talking about? Because it sounds crazy, right? I say Nano Banana any other year, right? But we're now in the day and age where that can make you millions of dollars if you understand what the hell Nano Banana 2 is, right? And so again, I started off early when I was really thinking about the Amen March. Because remember, I seen Black Men with Power, I seen all of them. And I said, damn, how come our parents missed the opportunity to be in power when the internet was starting off? And I was starting looking, I said, what's going to be the next opportunity? I want to make sure my people are not distracted. That's why I became a thought leader. That's why I studied futures. That's why I studied technology. That's why I studied culture, consciousness, metaphysics. And people were telling me, man, you're studying too many things. You're talking about too many things. Now everybody is shifting to the blueprint that I've been doing. Because now they need to be a polymath. Right now they need to have a bit of mastery in every subject so now they can tell the machines what to do. Because when they tell the CEO, before you tell your workforce to implement AI, make sure you testing it first. Right? Because if you don't have contextual understanding of something, you don't know when it's being done right or wrong. So now you have to be able to touch all these different subjects so that you can be in the architect mind to build. This is the building era. It used to be the information era. Now we have unlimited information with limited execution. Right now we're in the entertainment era, the attention era. That if you can protect your attention and you can focus it and concentrate, you can literally build anything. But the quality of your attention will produce the quality of your life.
My people. I don't know about y'all. I'm gonna go back to my staff because I just had this conversation. Like everything we're talking about is crazy. What I explained to them was, every day I wake up, I have the same enthusiasm about my job as I did the first day. I have the same enthusiasm about connecting with and working with people of the African diaspora and helping them connect with the continent to find their own magic that I did with the first person I brought here than I do with the 2,000, 2,500th person. And when you keep that same energy, when you keep that same spirit, and when you keep that same vibe, you never get tired of this, okay? You never get tired of this. In fact, you have to coach yourself to get sleep. You have to coach yourself to just do something fun sometimes. Because you're too damn serious for everybody, and they think you crazy. And then nobody want to talk to you because the small conversations just drive you crazy. What are we doing? What are we building? What I want to do before I let you close out and give you a closing comment, to everybody here in this group, today you came here. Some of you knew exactly who this brother was, and you knew exactly what you was going to get. And without even asking you, I'm telling you, I know you got it, and I know you got more than you even thought you were going to get. Okay? And that's a fact. Now, what you got on top of that, Sister Keegan, how many people came to you and got your phone number?
0. How many people did not put their name
Hold on. The sister came up, she told you, she helps franchise businesses, what she does, she's here. We talked about the fact that you can be sitting next to your blessing, and not one person asked her for her phone number.
But I gave her my card. Yeah.
That's okay, thank you. This is what I want to say to my people that are here. We have my brother Brandon, who's been here 20 years, a master at Ram Earth and other building forms that are more friendlier than normal cement and concrete. and he's a rattler. We have a sister from Houston who's only been here about, this is her third time in Ghana. She's there since October 2nd. I was listening. And she's trying to decide when she's going to go back because, as my brother said, he felt safe here. She said, it's just, I like the way I feel here. So I'm trying to figure out when and if I'm going to go back to town. My people from the diaspora who are here. Outside of the technology, a part of that reparations and a part of that repairing ourselves, we have to get better at working together. You ain't got to work with everybody, but we got to work together. We got to work together, and at least, even if you're not working with the person next to you, at least move out their way so that if they need to go forward, they can run. If you in your jog phase, but they in their run phase, just move to the side so they can keep running by you. And then use that as inspiration. Let's make sure that we're continuing to support each other. Let's make sure that we're continuing to work together and that we stand out each other's way. My brother, I appreciate you 100% wholeheartedly, and I'd like you to just give us some closing comments. I'd like you to tell us more about what you do. I want people to know how they can get access to what you do. If there's a course of yours that they can take, if there's a mastermind that you're hosting, how do people get access to the skills and the knowledge that you have, if it's available? And just close us out on your first night, first full day night here in Ghana. Give us a close out.
First of all, how y'all feeling? Yeah, make some noise, get some energy in the room.
Let's go, y'all. Let's go. In the back. Y'all sure we ain't going over your head? Back there. Maybe it's because we sitting down. Maybe that's what it is. Still some people in the back? Okay. All right.
Yeah, I've been working on duplication, right? So, as someone who now has the ability to consult at a high level, right? NBA players, ball players, people in corporate, billionaires, right? I've been able to build myself up by developing my gifts, skills, and talent to be of value to other people. And recently, I've been really taking a step back and just thinking about my journey of all the things that I did to arrive here. And there was a day, time, and age where, right, I had no car, I had no house, you feel me, homeless, trying to figure it out, depressed, and trying to imagine a greater version of myself that exists beyond my circumstances. There's a time I'm sitting in a jail cell trying to beat a case. You understand me? There was times in my life that I didn't know I was going to survive or die. Growing up in Oakland and St. Louis, these are very dangerous battlefields of life that most of the people I grew up with did not make it. They either dead or jail, in prison, got mental health issues, right? I in high school had to sleep in the same house with family members doing crack. I could smell crack coming into the door, and then the next day I got to go to school with a positive attitude. Right? I've been through all of the adverse experiences that you can have, except sexual abuse, as a child. Right? And so I can relate to a person starting, right, from zero and trying to turn themselves into the greatest, highest version of themselves. And when I went on this journey, I started thinking, like, how do I actualize myself? Right? Can I visualize a greater version of myself beyond my circumstances? And can I go on that journey and to become that person? And so I truly believe that you cannot act until the future feels real. So I would always imagine myself as far as I could in the future. And I have a running joke that the only person I'm jealous of is my future self. Right? The only handsome fellow on the planet that looks better than me. You understand me? He got the money, he got the brand, he got everything that I want. My future self is amazing. Right? And I'm always trying to step into his shoes. And so on that journey, I developed methods of how to communicate, how to become an influential communicator, right? How to speak with passion, how to create brands, how to understand neuroscience and marketing, how to understand strategic influence, right? How to build on platforms, right? How to develop a level of confidence in myself that's infectious when I walk in a room. How to create content that scales across the planet Earth to where I don't chase attention, I can hold it. Right? I've not done anything that hasn't been intentional. There is no accidents. I didn't get the luck of being accidentally successful at anything. And so now I want to teach that to others. So when I travel around the world, I do what I do independently. Right? There's no corporate sponsor. So as much as I love black people, I don't know if black people love me enough because ain't none of them sponsor me yet. You understand me? So if I was talking to white people, I got the dollars. The black people, y'all got to step it up. So when I go to our people, I'm always trying to do one main thing. And that's to raise your consciousness to accept new ideas so that you can perform better when you leave. Right? I'll only get you for an hour. And sometimes I get paid a lot of money to do this. Thank God. Some people that paid me, my first time I ever got paid was $500. Some people that paid me $50. So I've gotten paid from our people to do what I do at a high level. And my brother was telling me I'm cheap. He said, I need to go up to 100,000. And I said, I like it. You're right. It ain't too late to pay me more. Somebody had the book. So I want to create the next generation of thought leaders. Because I believe that everybody needs to be a thought leader. Right? No matter what business or what industry you're in, if you can be the one that educates people in your business, if you can be the one that creates content in your industry, right? Now you can also be the one that has them in a funnel that produces the sale. Right? No matter what you do. If I have mushroom coffee, I need to understand mushrooms. I understand lion's mane, cordyceps, adaptogens, nootropics. I understand functionality aspects of the brain and neuroscience so that I can teach people. And by giving them that value, they record that value in their mind and then they want to purchase from me. Right? I need to know how to be able to create media and podcasts and content, how to influence and how to storytell at a high level. Right? So all of these things that I took that are required to become a thought leader, I've made hundreds and hundreds of authors. Right? Because I believe everybody should have a book, and I'm always updating a strategy so that people can create digital products. Because I believe when you can become a great influencer, you can build you a brand, right? And build a world around that brand, you now have income forever. The biggest moat is community. So teaching people how to build community. I can go down there anywhere on the planet Earth, and there's a community that will gather to hear me speak because I'm producing value in the world. Right? And so what we're doing is we have something called Becoming High Level. And it's all about frameworks. And we're going to be doing a virtual tour because in person I give you the energy. I tell you what to do, but on a tour we tell you exactly how to do it. So you lead with the steps, you lead with the framework. So within the next 60 to 90 days, you're able to start gaining revenue. You're able to start producing impact at a higher level. So I decided to sit down with my team and do this. And we're going to do it over the course, I think, 6 to 9 days. Right? And so if anybody wants to be a part of that, then they can always connect with us or just wait till we drop the link and they can be a part of it. That's something that we will be starting in December. Right? And the way I've been able to do it, I've done it like nobody else. Right? Nobody has built one of the #1 shows, not even just a podcast in the world, at long form. And now we influence the way everybody started doing their podcasts. Right? And so we was able to create a 7-figure blueprint for that. Right? I've built out 8-figure businesses, understanding the power of collaboration. I've been through the failures, I picked them back up, and we're building more brands while we have Supermind. I understand the power of having a physical product, especially in the digital world. So all the things that I've done, somebody asks, what do you do? What do you see me do? Count it up. You understand me? You just said I'm doing too much. And you want to put me in a box. But you can't, because you don't want to give me credit for all that I've become. Right? And so you know damn well what I'm doing. I'm trying. If you don't do that, I'm traveling around the world speaking to black people. You understand me? But we're so ignorant that we don't know how to accept things that we weren't taught. We have to accept new ideas and expand ourselves. So that's what we're working on the tour. I have several books coming out. We have courses and things already on cryptocurrency, on all our infinite wealth strategies that we've been able to teach over the years. That, again, that particular one's created billionaires. You can give me the word bundle, you get access to that. Other than that, We have a Patreon. Look, I'm selling now, bro.
Yeah, come on.
Look, we getting that money
Let's
now.
go.
You know what I'm saying? We got our Patreon we started because as independent brand, as independent media, I always want to be able to say what I want to say. You understand me? Sometimes I might want to call out the Jews. See, you can say that when you
Well, listen, without having to go, without having to go sit next to the rabbi.
Right. You're not doing that.
Without having to go sit next to the rabbi and apologize.
Yeah. And I'll leave you with this. You know, Frederick Douglass, one of the greatest abolitionists of all time. He was able to go speak on the behalf of enslaved and captured black people. And the reason he was able to do that is because he connected with the millionaires and the capitalists at that time. They understood his vision. They told him after hearing him speak, you should do this around the country. He said, I really don't want to hear you. They said, you're going to be surprised. He said, we will fund it. He only had one job, and that was trying to free black people. But it was other people that were millionaires, because the millionaires at that time, they would go to the slave auctions and they would buy people their freedom. We were more intentional at that time to where now you don't expect Frederick Douglass to also build a business, do you? But we don't accept one person to contribute to a nation of things because we don't feel like we're a nation. We want you to build everything. So it's not that we don't have enough. It's not that we don't have the money. We just lack the intentionality to connect the pieces together so that each person can play their role. I'm just here to play my role, to raise the consciousness of the culture. And for those leaders that I can create, I will do that in the time that I'm living. And for those that want to accept and help on this mission, here I am.
My brothers, my sisters, I want to thank you all for coming out. Please give another round of applause. Give another round of applause.
Can you tell the people what experience with Superman? I didn't say nothing about no Superman.
Where we get the Superman?
Listen,
What we
Hey,
find
this is why I like this brother. What's your name, brother?
Sadiq.
He asking the right question.
yeah, so Mariah stood up earlier and spoke about Superman. Mariah, hold your hand up, because what I'm gonna do is send you directly there. I got my bag at the crib, so now I'm gonna be like the selfish European, be like, I got mine, you get yours. No, seriously. Please see Sister Mariah about Superman, about
And we'll be at the coffee conference.
and there's a coffee festival right here at Treehouse, I believe. I believe it's right here at Treehouse tomorrow. All day pretty much, but I know if when you leave, you stop by Treehouse right around the corner. Yeah, it's definitely happening tomorrow. Definitely see Sister Mariah, get her contact, find out about how much Superman she got here, how you can order it. Because see, you know, what always happens with us is, as black people, we waiting for the price to drop, or we waiting for something. And in the end, we always wind up spending more. Because we gotta wait for the right person. Y'all not gonna go get Superman until y'all see Chateau Ale or Burna Boy on stage like I just finished with my cup of Superman. And then you're gonna go get it, and then it's gonna be more expensive. Because yesterday's price is not what?
Today's price.
So y'all know that, but y'all still paying today's price. So make sure y'all tap in.
One last thing.
Come on.
I'll be remiss if I'm talking about the platform that we built out called Zion. So Zion is essentially a platform that we built for the global diaspora, to where instead of being on social media where they control the algorithms and things of that nature, we built it out a digital nation. So this digital nation platform allows us to build projects together, right? To activate unity but turn it into a system. But most of the time we start talking about unity, but nothing ever unifies. So it allows us to organize together. You can come on the platform. You basically get you a visa, you get you a passport. A visa means temporary, a passport means you highly aligned with what our mission is. So as we travel around the world, we was in Bermuda, we went to Birmingham, UK, we went to London, we went to Amsterdam. We're finding all the black communities around the world that we're connecting the dots for our people. And so this is Find Your Tribe season, right? So outside of social media, a place where we can convene So you're going to see deal flow coming through there. There's going to be access and opportunity that's going to be coming through Zion. So you can DM me directly to where Zion. Hopefully the meeting chat is set up correctly right now. And it will automatically send you a link and you can apply to be a part of the global community that's going into the future. So
Where are they DMing at 19 Keys, or are
On my
they DMing
Instagram.
your Instagram directly?
Yeah, directly on my Instagram.
Okay. I got that. My brother, I want to thank you again. Please, y'all, let's give another round of applause, please. Come on.
All righty, so there it was. Yep, I hope you enjoyed that. It's another one. We out here getting it in. This was well worth the drive. This was well worth the time. So thank you for joining us. Until next time, I am Brandon, and this is Eco Talk. This is Life Beyond the Return.